to the second Q&A session of today's London Contemporary Art School Virtual Open Day. This is now your chance to send in your questions and have them answered by the students of London Contemporary Art School. And I am joined by Aaron, Un, Heather and Chris. And so I'm going to move quickly through these because we've got quite a few. The first question is to Aaron and Bun. And it is, when did you first come into contact with contemporary dance?
When did you, Bun?
Are you not going first? Okay.
It's up to you.
I started ages ago. I did CAT for 5 years before here, and the Saturday Young Dancers programme here 4 years before that. So I've been here for a while.
Okay. And just to make clear, CAT is the Centre for Advanced Training, which is a UK initiative, UK-wide rather, so you can do it at different dance organisations around the country. And you train quite a high level, don't you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I first came into contact with contemporary dance when I was doing a project in a place called Detmold in central Germany, where it was like just a youth dance festival, and me and my friends from another dance collective, if that's what you want to call it, we were out there and we had to take a ballet and contemporary class every day, and my spot was right in front of the pianist who's I was about to say musician at Rambert School, and he just like passed me on the stairs after class one day and said, "Oh, have you ever thought about doing dancing full time?" And at this point we'd all finished our GCSEs and we didn't know what to do. So we went back and we found out that the building that we practiced, they had kind of like a CAT program, but instead of your GCSEs, a bit like a BTEC equivalent of your A-levels. So we all signed up for that, and a few of us stayed and a few of us ended up here eventually.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
So Heather and Chris, what dance training had you done before you came to London Contemporary Dance School? You can decide amongst yourselves.
Before I came to LCDS, I started just doing kind of recreational classes when I was around 5. But I started to kind of realize it was my passion that I wanted to pursue as a career when I was 14. And at that point, I started kind of training 7 days a week and going to an arts high school. I spent summers at Boston Ballet and Joffrey Ballet School Summer Intensive. And then when I was 17, I moved to New York for Joffrey Ballet School and trained there for the year before I moved here. Yeah.
I started when I was about 12 doing modern tap and ballet, and then I found out about Dance for CAT, which is another centre for advanced training, and then so that's where I first met contemporary about 4 years ago, and then I joined Retina Youth Dance Company and then the National Youth Dance Company. So I've mainly been doing like contemporary stuff since then.
And were a few of you members of the National Youth Dance Company, am I right?
Us.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Okay, so you three were part of that. Brilliant. So we've got a question from Twitter, and it's from Venetia, and she says, what was the audition process like for London Contemporary Dance School? Who wants to answer this?
Well, I auditioned in New York, so it was quite a different audition experience than you'll have here. For my audition, we had ballet, and then a modern class, and then an improv class, and then we did our solos, and then we had interviews, and everyone stayed the whole time.
Cool. Heather, do you want to describe a London one? Did you do?
Yeah, because you have here you get the first round and then the recall, which is quite nice to get like the 2 chances. And the first round you do a small ballet class and then a technique class and then your solo and then possibly an interview or physical. And then the second round you will do a full contemporary class and then a full creative class. And then if you've not already had an interview physical, you'll get that there.
Or sometimes you just have to do one. You don't have to do 2 all the time.
Oh, okay. So it just depends how they go.
Yeah, kind of varies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were very nice.
I was going to say, have you got any tips for anyone who's thinking about doing their audition, coming up to their audition?
Well, like all the auditions are with teachers that you have here now.
Yeah.
So there's always that thing of when you're going into the audition and whoever's taking the audition is just this big final boss and just like who you have to conquer to reach your goal. But really they're just the teacher who's been teaching there for, you know, years and years, and they know what it takes for you to succeed here, and they want all of you too. If they told us if they had the chance they would take everyone they could. So I don't know, it's really hard to say don't think of it as an audition, because it is, but that's probably the worst thing you can do, is go into it really tense thinking it's an audition. Just take it as also your time to audition the school, I think, as well, because there are lots of schools out there that cater to different needs, so you need to take it as part of yourself to be like, oh, do I make sure I really want to spend my next 3 years here? So, yeah, take your time to almost audition the school as well.
Yeah.
And I think you said before about enjoy it.
Yeah,
Is that right?
like you said, not to be tense. And I think if you enjoy the audition, that's when you will shine. And if you enjoy the audition and the panel sees that, yeah, you do like dancing, so this is what you like doing, so. And if you enjoy dancing, you will enjoy working hard at being better at dancing.
They will see the best of you.
I think another thing to remember during the interview process is that it's a conversation, and they actually want to talk to you. It's not like there's no right or wrong answer. They're just finding more about you, and that was something that I kind of realized mid-audition, as, oh, I'm having a conversation with this person. They like, yeah.
I think also in the interview as well, it's important to remember to like say what you actually think and not say what you think they want to hear, because they can tell that you're just...
And you'll end up saying the same thing as other people who feel that they need to do that, rather than, you know, the best way they're going to remember you is if you just
be you.
Yeah, if you just be you.
Good advice. So, next question. What's the most challenging aspect of your training so far? Who wants to answer that first?
I can go.
Okay.
I think for me, it's to not worry so much about being perfect right now, and just allow myself to like take everything in, like learn everything, and like remembering, like being patient with what I have now and like where I can go with it, sort of thing. So just breathing and just like being here in the moment.
Anyone else got anything to add?
I just thought of something which is finding a balance between I have to work all the time, and no, I'm going to go home now because it's past 6 and I need to breathe some air. And there are studios that you can go and book, but then you need to have time to just be...
Absorb it all.
Yeah, but away from thinking about working. And then it's knowing when you should work and when you should...
It's about having time for reflection. Like what you were saying about absorbing it and thinking and getting away, and is it that type of thing?
That's something else I found, which is I thought I'd write about everything every day, but I feel like there is so much and then so little time that I feel like I need to catch up on my reflection time, because there has been so much and not enough time to write. So that's quite hard to fit everything in.
Okay. And we've got a question here via Twitter, and it's from Bruna. And she says, what was your impression of the school before you started, and has that altered? So you've been here, is it 2 months now? Are you getting into your 3rd month?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the smiliest place in the world.
Yeah.
It's so good to walk around.
It was so smiling.
No, seriously, like you're just walking around, everyone you walk past will just like smile at you so much.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is nice. I like it here.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's obviously a big stigma attached to dance schools that they're quite intimidating and stuff. But I think, especially LCDS, the place where it's situated and all the building is not just a dance school. There's so much other stuff going on in the building. You know, there's a professional company here, there's after classes, there's the CAT program. There's so much going on. There's so many people passing through that it doesn't really feel like it's just here and you're cooped up in your school. You definitely feel like it's when you're here that you're part of a much bigger network, and there's loads of dancers and other people to connect with, and start relations in dance with them. You're not just going to the school for the sake of your training. So, and it has that nice atmosphere.
I think you get a taste for that on the audition as well. Like,
Yeah.
For me, like the atmosphere was just so welcoming and friendly. It was somewhere that you wanted to be, and then like the audition felt easier because you've kind of felt at home, even though you'd only been there like a few hours or whatever. But then coming to the school and it was like the same. It was like still the nice atmosphere, and you're like, oh yeah.
I had never been here, to London or to LCDS before our first day of school. So
That's quite a big transition.
yeah. So it was the only impression I had was from my audition in New York, and from that I kind of took away from it. I was like, wow, that was a very genuine audition. I could have conversations with the teachers. I felt like I got to know the school, and it's only, I think, improved and like increased in comfort. And I think that's really unique in a dance school.
Anything else to add?
It's good.
Cool. So, next question. What is your favourite class and why? I'm not going to hold you to this because obviously it may change over the year.
Yeah, it kind of
but,
changes.
yeah. At the moment, what is it?
I think different classes for different reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
They all
That's
have kind of an equal amount to love, and like they all give out a crazy amount of information.
And you're gaining something different from each, so...
Yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I was going to say composition that we've had last half term, because it made you really think about composition and the way how things are composed. And although I thought, oh yeah, I think about stuff, but then it is good to be in a class that's about composition and you're like, oh, I had not thought of that.
Yeah. Each class dissects the subject really well to a point where you're constantly having these like, oh moments, and yeah.
And they you can make connections between classes, like in composition and design. Like we don't have set improvisational classes, although we do a lot of that within composition and stuff like that. It's coming out from a different angle, which I think is very good and very important here at this school, that it's not so much about just the individual creating something for themselves, but learning how to dissect and look at other people's work and make judgments and question why they've made those decisions and why they didn't work. So then you can put it into your own work at a later stage, because you're only in your first year here, and when you're in third year or when you graduate and you start making work, you need to have these skills of knowing why you're making these decisions based on your work that you do for the 3 years, rather than just making your decisions because you feel it's creative and it's you. So it gives you a great understanding, and especially if you don't know that much about contemporary dance, because before I ccame here I've only been dancing for like 18 months, 2 years, and I still know very little about the game or whatever you want to call it. So it's good. Those classes, they really kick you out, and I can see definitely in the future that hopefully I'll know a lot more about it and feel much more confident about putting myself out there to try and make some work or be a part of someone else's.
Good. Cool. So you mentioned before about auditioning the school rather than the school auditioning you. What made each of you choose London Contemporary Dance School? I'm assuming they're all different reasons.
Yeah.
Go, Chris.
Well, I learned about the school. My friend from Canada was auditioning, and that's when I learned about the school and started researching it. And I watched every video under London Contemporary Dance School on YouTube. And like I was talking about earlier, the comfort of the school, I kind of got that vibe. And I was noticing how challenging the study is artistically and physically, and that was something that I was really attracted to, is the fact that I knew I would be challenged as an artist and a dancer and a thinker. Also, being at the place is really, really special and really unique, and something I think we're all really grateful for because, like Aaron was speaking of earlier, it's such a good place of networking, and there's always a performance going on, always a company, always different dancers, and just really brilliant people always around you. So it was a pretty easy decision.
Good. Was it as easy for all of you?
Yeah, I think it's kind of what Chris was saying about like the balance between the more artistic side and the more like technical, physical side of dance. Like it has a really good balance, which is kind of what I was after. And like also like being in London, like there's so much to like experience, and it really opens your like eyes to everything. And I think as well, like obviously Chris is from America, but, like there's lots of international students, and like you don't get that, and we obviously do it at some schools, but there's loads here, so it's really nice to like mix with them because they bring such different things from like contemporary, but also like their culture and like their opinions and things like that is a lot different to like ours, even though ours are all different as well. But like it brings like, so it then adds to it
Versatility,
as well.
yeah.
Versatility.
Okay. So we've got a question here actually, a bit about that broader culture of London, and you've spoken a bit about the broader culture of the place. What do you feel that you've engaged with as part of that broader culture of London? Have you seen performances? Have you done other classes elsewhere?
There's lots to do in London, and I think we've already been given 2 free tickets as students to see stuff, and there are shows here, there are shows at JW3, the Tabernacle, just loads of venues that I hadn't even known about, even though I've lived here for a while. And then there are classes here, there are classes at any other dance venue that you can research for and find out yourself and go to. So, like the thing people say about the place being broad, you really can make of it what you want because everything is here, so you can pick what you want to pick.
Cool. Yeah. So we've had a question on Twitter from Bethan, and she's asked, what's the toughest thing about being a student? I don't know whether yours is different because you're far away from home or not. Maybe that doesn't matter, maybe that's a bonus.
Well, I think for me, this is my second year of living kind of outside of home because I lived in New York last year.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good stepping stone. I mean, obviously it's not living on a different continent, but it's something. And for me, the hardest part of training, none of it is hard in I don't want to say exhausting, but in like a bad way.
Yeah, okay.
It's all very like beneficial, and I think the toughest part for me is going back to basics and dissecting things that I haven't thought about for a while, and kind of relearning, which is so nice because I feel like I'm constantly thinking of what I'm doing, and sometimes when you do things so many times, it becomes routine, so you don't even think about it anymore. And here I found that I'm constantly conscious of what I'm doing and really thinking about everything. So I'd say that's the most challenging part for me personally, but it's also one of the best parts.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I found it to be... Go, Chris. I found it to be a lot, I don't want to say easier, but less stressful than I thought it was going to be, you know. When you think, right, I'm going away to train, I've got to leave home, I've got to do all these things for myself. Being at somewhere like this, when you're training at this standard and at a place which really makes you feel like you can go on to do things, you kind of forget, you know, all this pressure because you're being really treated like a semi-professional now, that you just kind of take it on board and you take it on yourself, and you kind of get on a roll. You wake up, you go to class, you do well, you go home, you rest, you have to do all your things at home, washing, eat, whatever, and then you get up and you need to, you know, make the next day better. So you kind of forget the fact that you've just left your entire family who's raised you for 18 plus years and you've gone away. So it's not as bad as people think it is, but that's only if you really give yourself to the school, because if you're 100% focused, then you're going to think about it less, and you're going to think about what really matters, which is being here and training.
Earlier when we interviewed Sarah, who's a second year, and Jordan, who's a third year, they were both talking about how they considered their peers at the school as being like their second family. Do you feel like that yet? Because you've not been here as long as they have. But I just wondered how your relationship is developing with your peers, which is obviously all you sitting around each other.
I think when you meet like-minded people, you know, when anyone leaves school to go into further education, you're doing it in a subject which you're really passionate about, and to meet other people like that from all over the world, you know, it's another one of those things where you think, oh, there's going to be this whole weird period where we have to all make friends and stuff, but you kind of all get there, you all like the same stuff, so you're all just you're all in class together, and you're in this environment where you're all helping each other out, so you kind of just skip that whole phase and you just go straight into being like, you know, like what normal people do, rather than just having to iron out this weird whole friendship thing, because the sooner that gets put out the way, the quicker you can start to trust each other and start dancing better together, and that's what everyone's here for.
Brilliant. We've got a question for Chris. Is there a big difference between the dance scene in the UK and in America?
Yes. There's a huge difference.
Do you think you can quantify how?
I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Competition dance is very big in America right now, and that's not big here. Well, it's non-existent here, which is something that I really like.
You like that it's not here, or you like competition dance?
No, I like that it's not here. I think from what I've experienced, the classes are extremely supportive of each other, and it's less kind of like a man-eat-man world. Not to say that American dance is bad in any way, but I think here it's, from what I've noticed, it's a very supportive environment, which is great.
Okay, so another question from Twitter, from Bruna. I'm hoping to audition next year. Can you give me some advice? So I guess that's in the lead up to so she's a year away. Is there anything she needs to do between now and then?
Research.
Okay.
Research the school. There are a ton of videos on YouTube. There's stuff like this happening. If you live in London, visit the school, come to the performances at the place. I think just get a good sense of the school, what you're going to be required to do, and get a step ahead. ahead, and yeah.
I mean, one thing I'd say is that we have, there's performances by the school throughout the year within the place. Particularly the graduation performances are very good to come to in July. You get a real taster of what has happened throughout that final year and everything. So, and then also we've got another virtual open day happening at the beginning of December. So there'll be different classes shown then. It won't be exactly the same as today. So.
And also to that question as well, also, you know, you've obviously got to be mindful that you're going to audition and that the day is going to come. But don't, it's not the end of the world, you know, if it comes and you don't feel like you're ready or you feel like you didn't do well. It's just another day in your dance life, you know. At the end of the day, it's just a bit of dancing. Mm-hmm. So you've really got to like just enjoy dancing now, because if you build up to it and it doesn't go your way, then it's just like, oh, what have I been doing? Oh, I hate dancing. But if you're enjoying dancing and then you're still enjoying dancing when you go into your audition, then you will continue to enjoy dancing, and you will continue, like, no, you don't want to dance for someone to be assessed, always thinking like, oh, I've got to be good for this reason or that reason. If you just continue enjoying to dance, then you will find your way, whether it's to this school, that school, whoever school, no school, but you'll still continue to like dancing, which I think is the most important thing.
I think even though you're saying like don't worry too much, I think a little bit of stress is good, because then you're going to prepare yourself. So like make sure you've gone to enough classes, you've experienced, like you've gone to watch shows that you can then talk about in your interview, like you've experienced different things, because otherwise you're going to make yourself more nervous if you come to the day and you're not prepared.
But I'm saying like just enjoy the fact that you're going to see dance for the fact that you like dance, rather than being like, I have to do this so that I can think of clever stuff to say. Like just go and see shows that you like, or explore new shows and stuff.
And if you've been to see them as well, you can be genuine about it.
Yeah.
So.
I think for the audition itself, keep in mind that the experience is going to benefit you regardless of the outcome. And there's a ton of stuff and information that you can take away from it. And I think keeping that in mind is kind of a way to calm down and get the jitters out.
That's a nice way of putting it. So we discussed earlier actually that sometimes, did you all get in on your first audition here? Did you just do the one?
I did.
Cool.
I had the recall.
Yeah. Did you do what? I spoke to, we were talking about it earlier, where some students have actually done an audition, did not get in the first year, and then they take that year to really prepare, and then they do a second one the next year, and then they're accepted. So
I was going to say, when you were saying about enjoying it, if you really enjoy it, and then you do the audition, you enjoy it, and you don't get in, I think it's not the end of the world, because you can always audition again, and there are plenty of people who didn't get in first time but they're here now and they're amazing, and there are people who didn't get in this time, and if it matters to you, and even though it's hard because you've been rejected by the school, that's all you've been rejected by, just the school, and ultimately it's a panel of 4 people, and they won't know you or what you can be in a year. So you do have a whole year to work on yourself.
And there's people that get in straight away and then leave.
Yeah.
You know, find out that it's not for them, or they just kind of fall off because they didn't have to work as hard as some people.
Yeah, and if you've worked hard for a year, then I think you'll be much stronger by the end of that than the people who managed to get in first time. And that will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life, because you know that you were strong enough to do this, and you can do that.
Yeah. In America, there's only one. In America. In America, there's only one audition, one chance to dance, so yeah, we only auditioned once, and then that was that.
I think as well, if you don't get in first, because I always kind of thought, I've got to go away at 18, like I have to, otherwise I'll be a year older than everyone else and I'll be a year behind or whatever. But it's actually like coming here, I realised that not everyone's 18, like there's so many people that are older.
Yeah.
Like,
how old is Dan?
23. We have a 5-year age range in our class, so it's not.
And
In our class?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
17
wouldn't-
to 23.
Oh, in the year, not just...
Yeah, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, Dan's 23.
Okay.
That's good.
Brilliant. Cool. So yeah, Bruno, good luck. Hope your audition goes well. So, last question. What are you looking forward to during your time at London Contemporary Dance School? So that could be in your second year, your third year, leaving. It could be any of those things. Have you got anything in mind?
We got to watch the third year classes in one of our first weeks, and I think it's not a specific thing. It's just like, once you've been here for 3 years, we watched those classes, and I don't know, but it just got me so excited that I was like, wow, they are all so good. And it just gets you exciting that in a couple of years, like, you could be just like that. And they're only 2 years ahead of us, but they've been here, and it just like, and it goes to show, because there's still a big like age range and ability range, but they're all such mature dancers, and it doesn't matter, you know, how high your leg goes or how many turns you can do or whatever. Everyone there can do it like a boss. And it, you know, and then I started to think about, I was like, well, how old is this school? Oh wow, so they've been doing this for that many years, so like they've just been pumping out so many like brilliant dancers, because anyone in that class that we watched could go off and do anything they wanted to, and I was like, that's exciting.
45 years is a long time to be training dancers.
Yeah.
Something that I'm really looking forward to is retaining information from the other students, because everyone has so much to offer, and so, like, we're all, like we said, we're all pretty close already. So in 3 years' time, we'll obviously be pretty close. So I think just taking information from everyone, we all come from such different backgrounds. Like, Aaron is a sick break dancer, and so it's like, I always tell him, like, teach me how to do that, but yeah.
And you do Katak as well, don't you?
I started.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to?
I am excited about everyone else. Looking forward to, but I also realised I was excited when I watch people in my year move.
Okay.
Because we're always doing technique and in our own classes, and you don't really see other people do their own thing that often. So when you do, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then you realise that everyone else in your year is cool, and then you can't wait to start working with the people in your year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll just go into a studio and improv, or the day will end and someone will put on music, and before, like, 10 people are just improving, and that it will last like 45 minutes, and we'll be like, well, the day was over like an hour ago. So.
Yeah, working with people as well, because you don't really realise it now because we're all just starting here, but everyone here is going to make the next load of dancers that will represent LCDS. And, you know, your classmates here you could go on to collaborate with far into the future. And I think that there's definitely a great sense here that, you know, no one here is an individual. Everyone here is working to, you know, make the whole of, not even just contemporary dance, the whole of dance a much more respected art form out there.
Okay.
So you never feel like, you know, you're here because you're going to be the next big guy and you're going to go off and do this. You know, you definitely feel like when you're here that you're all in it together to push dance that next step to getting up there with like all the football players and all the big stars.